Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Bible in a Year 2021. We are on day 338 and we're reading, 337, getting ahead of myself. Day 337, and we're reading through 1 Corinthians 15 and 16. So we're finishing up the first book to the Church of Corinth. Paul gives us a nice little summary here of what happened after Jesus rose from the grave, and who he visited and when, and that sort of thing. As we read through the letters of Paul, we get to fill in some of the gaps and some of the things, because remember, this is from different people's perspective. As in what they experienced, and when we take it all and we fill it in, we get the big picture of everything that was happening. But Paul says a very interesting thing. He talks about how he's the least of the apostles. He came in as if he was born late to this age, and he says he is what he is by the grace of God. He is what he is by the grace of God. And then he goes on and he talks about how he wanted to make sure that grace, or what he says is that grace was not wasted. I have worked hard. So in other words, Paul realized what had been given to him, this great invitation, and he took full advantage of it. He grabbed hold of it, and he worked hard within that grace. He talks in all of his letters. He says all things are possible for him who believes. He talks about how he had experienced plenty and experienced a need as well. But he learned what contentment was. That he could do all things through Christ, who strengthens him. And so Paul is saying here in this, and there's so many things in our experience with Christ that it's kind of a thin line, and you have to be careful not to go too far over. We don't work for our salvation. Salvation is a gift; it's given to us. We work in relationship. It's love that compels us. It's love that compels us. Jesus said that we would love would come. Basically, what he's saying is because of love we will obey him. And so this is what Paul is talking about here, being found in this position by grace. Okay, by grace, being found in this position by grace. He gave his all. He gave everything he had to. He said, I worked harder than any of the others. I faced this. I did this, and it's not that it's not that a matter of bragging. He's pointing out that he never took that grace for granted. He never made it a cheap grace. And this is sometimes the hard thing that we have, is understanding the difference between those two. Understanding the difference between being compelled, being obligated, feeling obligated by love, that love obligates me, being compelled by love into action, compared to those who work for their salvation. It may look the same, but the motivation and the heart is completely different, and we need to make sure that we don't get these two things confused. It's really important, and it's good that Paul has written this here. He gives us this whole timeline of Jesus, what happened, and he's talking about the calling and how he's called, and he says, basically saying, I'm not going to waste this. I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to take this grace and go as far as I can. I'm going to take it to the fullest. I'm not wasting any of this. Paul was indeed driven, but he wasn't driven as we understand the word today. He was driven by the obligation of love, and he was driven by the love of Christ, and he experienced a lot of stuff because of that. So I just want to encourage you. Let's just check our motivations. Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we doing what we're doing? Oh, yeah, I'm just going to leave it there for you. You guys be blessed, be encouraged today, and we'll catch up tomorrow.